Because you will understand that the new media has challenged. It's a great challenge to the newspaper industry. So for you to up your game and situate Daily Times where you used to be, you have to use your head. And that is what we are doing. I'm not going to expose the secret because it's going to be a trade secret.
That would have been very interesting. So the question I'm going to ask you next is,
you see,
I remember the day that Sunday Times sold 500,000 copies.
Thank you. Your memory is still great.
And there was jubilation. Half a million copies of paper in one day.
Yes.
But all that has been eroded now by new media.
Yeah.
So how is Daily Times going to get back those glory days in face of this kind of competition?
Okay, I'll open the lid a little bit. Why must you, after living here, you want to relax in your house, spend that 200 naira, 300 naira to buy a newspaper? Because you're looking for something different. Because you're looking for something new. Because you're looking for information.
I can get it from my computer.
Yeah.
Go to Daily Times site.
But the delivery, the knowledge, what the Daily Times, that's why I said I'll open the lid a little bit for you. It's going to be driven because Daily Times is known for exclusive stories. The exclusivity that is Daily Times, that is driven research in-house by Daily Times. That's what we're going to be seeing from now onward. That is what is going to actually separate the boys from the men. And we are going to do it. We have been in the process of recruiting fine hands that actually live, breathe, and think journalism. That's what we're going to do as far as Daily Times is concerned.
Okay. Can I just ask the chairman, I hope you can hear us. Now, you say that you're going to unveil the roadmap for sustained growth of the newspaper. What are we expecting when you have your World Press Conference?
Okay, what you're expecting is that we have to be able to give you a clear trajectory on how we are going to deal or harmonize the introduction of technology to lives. You know, technology and life has merged. You know, when Daily Times sold 500,000 as Sunday Times on a Sunday, when you said that was jubilation, actually, at that time, you didn't have the assault or integration of technology to our daily lives. So we understand that, you know. When we unveil that, we're going to show you the steps. And the core of the step that we're going to take to make Daily Times to become #1 is our archives. It's the biggest heritage that we have because it's through the archives. You can do scripts for movies, you can do scripts for all sorts of things. So when you also now merge it with what Mr. Olisa is just talking about, which is the real core investigative journalism, which Daily Times is known for. You know, news is no more a commodity. News is free. We're talking about content now. So what we're going to be unveiling to you is that we're going to unveil to you a systematic approach to content delivery across multiple platforms. Because when you talk about newspapers, you know, yes, you as a human being, you always try to assimilate things with your eyes, with your ears, with your touch, and with your mouth. You know, but then we understand the different delivery platforms. We've been working for the past 10 years to develop them properly, hone them. So what we're going to be doing is to unveil to you the systematic approach so that we are able to excite the market. We're not going to be ahead of the curve. We're going to stay on the curve because we also understand the competition. Like your colleague mentioned about Daily Times and the new masthead. You know, this is what the masthead used to be, if you can say.
Yep.
But then what we have brought in is we have brought in the THE. Because when Daily Times was running, Daily Times was the Daily Times, but there was no THE. Because at that time, all the media knew was Daily Times. But now we have tried to bring it because there have been a lot of proliferation of the name Times. People try to come in from all angles because they feel that the Times is sleeping. So they try to take advantage as many times as possible. So that's what we're trying to do. So we will unveil to you an unassailable plan to excite you once more, to connect our history to our young people that are almost losing what the essence of media is. You know, yeah, internet is there, it's free source, you know, but then you have to ask yourself, what does the news do for me? Why do I need news? Why do I need content? It's to make you a better person. It's to make you grow. That's why you go to school. Education is almost like content. So we're going to be able to focus that. If you remember in the olden days, you used to have Times Home Studies. Most of the kids that got way ahead of their time was because they were aligned to Times Home Studies. Their parents picked up the papers and then tried to train them through Times Home Studies. Those things are there. So, like I said, es nihilo nihifi. Out of nothing comes nothing. We know where we're coming from, we know where we are, and we know where we're going. So we're going to be able to chart that critical course and then be able to focus and then give you the brand that satisfies all your aspirations. And then you get connected. That's why brands are built. Brands are not articles. Brands are not paper. It's in your guts. It's an emotive feeling. That's why when they mention Daily Times, even though Daily Times has not been actively participating in the print media for so long, everybody says, wow, oh, Daily Times back? Yes, Daily Times is back. So we're going to rebuild that gut so that when you hear Daily Times, you have that feeling that it affects your life. It's going to be able to make you who you want to be.
Mr.
Able to support you.
If I may come in here.
Be it government, be it private sector, a young person, everybody. So that's all.
There's this notion out there that I know you mentioned it earlier, where you talked about people forgetting the core business of Daily Times and thinking of Daily Times as a real estate organization. How do you intend to ensure that the focus is taken back to journalism for Daily Times? And then the other thing about the Daily Times home study, are you going to return it? Are you going to restore it?
No, most of the thing in trying to take products to the market, you have to think about the time. It might not be called Times Home Studies again, but I'm trying to tell you that for the purpose that Times Home Studies served, we're going to reflect and then bring back that purpose. We bring out a product that will serve that purpose. Okay? Now, for the first part of your program, first part of your question that you asked about bringing Daily Times back, we're already doing that. It's capacity building. It's reinvestment in core focus. We're not a real estate company. People always talk about, oh, Daily Times has assets, and we're not a real estate company. I'm a graphic artist by profession. I'm trained in the University of Benin. I'm not here to sell property or buy property. I bought Daily Times because I feel that it affords me the opportunity, to recreate what our forefathers created. The things that gave some of us the structure that we have today. My dad was a shareholder of Daily Times. He bought Daily Times from the East. He bought Daily Times shares from the East. So why can't I recreate that so that everybody or anybody that is anywhere can buy shares of Daily Times? It's supposed to be an institution. Media companies are not supposed to be personified. It's not because I'm Fidelis and Osika have Daily Times. No. If you have to recreate a company that everybody has ownership in, that's what institutions are. You don't know who owns the New York Times. You don't know who owns Washington Post. Yes, you might hear that one family has a majority stake because they have more risk in it. But then, that is what is missing in Nigeria, is that institutionalization. That is what is missing. Everybody is about individuals. Everybody wants to take. But the point is that nobody is remembered for what they take. People are remembered for what they give. So Folio Communications is here to give. We are here, we've spent 11 years of our lives in trying to rebuild this legacy brand. We will spend whatever it takes to rebuild it. That's how we are going to make our name. That's what we want people to remember us for. That same old brand that's been pervasive in all walks of life. Some young company came in, took it to the next level. Because you have to dimension every product at this time. This time, you have the Facebooks, you have the Googles, you have this, you have that, And Nigeria is the market. We have 180 million plus people. The addressable market for media is over 24 million. What are we doing? The entire media industry, the entire print industry is not even doing up to 1 million copies. Why? Because there's lack of investment in capacity building, there's lack of interest in the young people going into core media to be able to express themselves. So we are going to bring that back. We know what it takes to bring it back. And these are empirical facts. We're not talking about, emotions. So the first thing about Daily Times is that Daily Times is going to be rebuilt as an institution. That is what it used to be. It's not going to be known for It's not going to be aligned to anybody. It's not going to be aligned to Fidelis Anosike or aligned to anybody. It's going to be rebuilt as an enterprise and franchise for the Nigerian people. So that's how they are going to go and look at it. This paper is the Nigeria independent paper. It is for me. Yes, if I now want to have a niche market, if I want to have a slant, I can go to X, Y, and Z. So we know, and we've mapped it out. We've taken a lot of time to reflect. If you go to New York, if you want to build a 300-story building, it's the foundation that is the most important. You know, we have built the foundation, so we can now begin to put the blocks on it, and it's going to stand. Okay. With what we have gotten from people, even the little we have done. Somebody called me the other day and said, "Wow, Daily Times, it feels like a new bride. It feels like a new bride." Those are the kind of things, the encouragement that you want when you're building up, because you want people to notice. So we are sure going to be able to give you what you want. We know what you need, so we'll give you what you want.
Thank you. Mr. Egbunike, your closing.
Yes, all we've been doing is that, just like the chairman said, is that we want Nigerians to buy into Daily Times once more again, because it's the national paper, and we are not here to sensationalize. We're here to provide information that everybody needs to grow. Growth is one of the most important things that drive human existence. Growth in business, growth in your profession, growth in academics. That is what Daily Times, our target, and we'll do it to make sure that Nigeria gets back to where Nigeria used to be.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olisa Egbunike, Group General Manager at Daily Times, and the Chairman, Fidelis Anosike of Daily Times. Thank you both for sharing your thoughts with us. We wish you a happy 90th anniversary.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
And I guess it's time to say, if we're in the old days, we'll bring you bottles of schnapp.
Thank you very much.
Sarah will be back in a moment. Please don't go away.